Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the Hungarian Grand Prix, round 11 out of 12, the penultimate race of the season. We've just seen something off stream happen in a dramatic way. Verf, the home hero, tries to spin themselves around on track. Unfortunately, they've ended up being disqualified from the race. That is exactly how you don't want it to go, and they've got a long old task ahead of them around a circuit where it's difficult to overtake at. Welcome to Hungary. We've got just under 2 minutes on the clock, and these are our final runs. This is Heischler's attempt, not attempt at pole position. They're burning the fuel and going again. We'll get all the details up on the screen just as we need to make sure everything is recorded. And then we'll hopefully get on board with qualifying as we see PJ and Frost going for their laps. It's actually Frost into the next chicane, but they're also backing off and going again. So it is just going to be PJ up next as they go up through turn 4. Very tiny lift, if not flat out, as you go through the left-hander, just using the scrub. Oh no, and that's a big shunt, and that will be the lap done. PJ will not improve in the rest of qualifying. They move out the way, and now we move on to the next driver, which it will be Heischler, the championship leader. It's turn 1, braking just before the curb and getting that car turned in. The front tyres absolutely screaming already, and then down the hill into 3. Trying to bleed into the inside line if you can. It's not quite so simple when you're pushing to the limit. Up the hill, turn 4, flat out, and they use the speed nicely to carry through the downforce into the corner, into the next chicane. Absolutely brutal, over the curb, send it through as you fly. And then you've got the S section in the middle sector. Oh no, Heischler's round, and that is another qualifying run down the drain. Frost is next, and they're looking to try and improve. As Heischler's moved to the right-hand side of the circuit, they'll start P2 or lower in this race, a 10th up on their delta. What can we see from Frost in the final sector? Using a bit of wheel flicking here and there as they're trying to get that car rotated, but again it's another mistake, and that is another lap out of contention. It's Charlie looking to beat their teammate to pole position. The final corner's upon them. Will they be able to keep it together? No! Oh, the traction once again is lost. I don't believe it. They go off the circuit in frustration, and just no one can get there. Briscoe Jr. does not improve either. What can we see from Frantic, who goes across the line? And it's an improvement up to P3 ahead of Igapro. That's a brilliant job indeed. It's going to be Nifo up next across the line. What can they do? And it is a very slight improvement, but nothing actually made any difference there. And Igapro across the line at the very end, they don't improve either. That's a brilliant lap there at the end from Frantic to get themselves up the order, but other than that, nothing more. Briscoe Jr. takes pole position with Heischler in P2 and Frantic in P3. That's the race director on your screen and the rest of the grid. We'll see in a bit for the race. Ready. Hold. Go! Who's going to get it into turn 1? The inside line goes to Heischler, but it's Briscoe Jr. off the line in P1. Will they get there? No! It's a terrible start. It's 4 wide into turn 1. Heischler has it. They bleed off the brakes and they take the corner. It's Pro into P2, and the terrible start continues all the way to turn 3 for Briscoe Jr. As Frantic goes through, there's a mistake there, as there's a front end loss and almost big contact. Can they get a switch back? No, I think it's pretty much done. Frantic through, and that is a switch up and a half. Charlie sat right behind their teammate. All of a sudden, a terrible pole position from Briscoe. Looking at the tyre strategy, that's also on the medium tyre, so that is nothing to do with any difference in the strategy at all. It is just a mistake. Absolute disaster struck Heischler in P1. His closest rival in the championship today is Verth. As long as he scores more than 4 points, he has confirmed the champion, and that is it. That's what they're looking for. More than 4 points or more in the championship. In this race, Heischler has the title, and currently it's looking very, very good. A P1, Verth doesn't need to finish anywhere. It's already over. Otherwise, it's going to be... Oh, I look to the inside line. Otherwise, it could be a little bit more complicated. We'll think about that later on when it comes to closer at the time, and we can calculate things better. Briscoe Jr. sitting right behind, possibly frustrated after the start that they've just had. They need to shake it off and get back into the groove. The opportunities to overtake aren't many around a circuit like this. But if one does arise, you have to take it with both hands. Currently, well, no one's got their hands up. They're focused and holding that wheel tightly. Frantic taking their first ever LSI F1 win last time around. Can they do it again? Sorry, no. 2 races ago. 2 races ago, Frantic took their first of LSI F1 win. It's Pro to the inside line as they look to take it from Heischler, and a bit more force and not really any risk in the championship. I think they've taken that move quite nicely. Heischler just needs to secure the title today. Oh, PJ's round. Unfortunately, PJ's down the order. And it's also Frost joining them on their debut. Welcome, LSI Frost. Verth in P7 struggling with that tyre, but they're hoping that the switch up will come soon. And I'll tell you what, around Hungary, a medium tyre drops off fast. The switch up will come around very, very soon. Pro in clean air for the first time this race. Heischler now having to deal with this dirty air. Is it going to be easy? No. As you can see, they're all over the curb, and they may have just exceeded the track limits. There's jeopardy in this race still to come. Now Verth catches back up to the pack, and they will be very much in the train. The problem is that they're going to be on a faster compound tyre, whilst all of the medium tyre runners are going to have to effectively work together to try and stay in the race as long as they can on the medium before they pit to the hard. Verth's not going to have an easy time. They've really got a challenge in front of them. Maybe it's going to work out later. They managed to make it work in Austria, and we didn't really believe that it would be the case. The 2 teammates go side by side, and they do switch up eventually. Charlie to P4. Briscoe Jr.'s downfall continues. It's Niffo up next to try and have a go. Will they be able to get a move on last race winner back in Belgium? Now, unfortunately, that is Frost down the order, and that's going to be no damage and no safety car. PJ, of course, into the pit lane earlier on than many, looking for a bit of an undercut. Although with that issue that they had earlier on, it's quite difficult. That is our first time penalty from the race leader, who's been pushing the limits maybe a little bit too much. You can see the cars now are finding a few twitches here and there on the traction, etc. That is where you're getting the time penalties. That's what's happening. You're just dancing over the white line a little bit too much, making a mistake, trying to correct. Keep your foot in as much as you dare, and then the warnings come in, and then eventually a time penalty will kick in. Lap 4 out of 35, that time penalty has came in. 14 corners around the lap to try and keep it within track limits. Eager Pro is already on 1 3-second time penalty. Now, it's an easy track to get a time penalty at. Surprisingly, for the amount of chunky curbs there are actually quite a few low curbs that are very, very, very easy to go straight over to try and gain that time. And sometimes you can gain a little bit too much, and you gain a, maybe not even advantage, but just a track advantage. Another mistake, unfortunately, for Frost, and that's just going to be the nature of spun, worn tyres. You've got to be very careful with them. We're going to go on board with Verth now in P7, and just look at the grip difference. You can see the front end just completely lost by Nifeyan. That's nothing to do with them, it's just the tyre. It's brutal. The medium tyre is very hard to deal with. Here's the ERS usage, and this is Verth's attempt at trying to have a go at attacking, but it's just not going to work in a train like this. Everybody pushing up in front as well, and then they slow down a lot in the middle part of the circuit. There it is though. Verth's going to surely go to the inside line. They back off. Nifo's still going to have a chance to stay with the Williams cars, but those tyres are done, and Verth can't really be making decisions like that. If they get the opportunity, they have to be decisive. They have to send it. They may not get another opportunity within the next couple of laps until the other guys pit, and by that time it's too late, because the tyre advantage that they've currently got right now will be gone. Verth's got to go through all of this tyre wear later on into the Grand Prix, so they need to try and make the most of what they've got when they've got it. Now, a couple of times this season, as Nifo makes a mistake, a couple of times this season we have seen, especially in the later races, some late safety cars. Maybe Verth is looking for that later safety car, but now they're looking for the move. They have to look for the move. Nifo is not holding DRS. They're going to surely make it a bit easier for Verth to go for P1 in the train, as they're now broken away. And eventually the Sauber does get through, and they should have a good chance of catching up the pack in front. We've got Eager Pro leading the way, Heischler sat in P2 with Frantic in P3, holding position nicely from where they qualified. And then we've got Briscoe Jr. And Charlie in the Williams cars alongside each other, but Briscoe Jr. from P1 to P5 hasn't had the best start to this Grand Prix. Alrighty, we are back. Sorry for the delay. In the meantime, we have unfortunately had a mistake from Nifo's end, or I say that, just tyre issues from earlier hasn't been recoverable. Verth has only just about recovered to catch up to the DRS train of Charlie in front, In the meantime, we've seen Briscoe Jr. go for a very early pit stop all the way down to 7th place. And an early pit stop where we're looking for around about lap 10 to lap 14 being the pit window. So this is very, very early from Briscoe Jr. and it's probably going to cause a couple of cars to react behind. It means that they're going to have slightly worse tyre wear later, but because Briscoe started in P7, pitted when they were in P5, they've got more ground to make, whereas Eager Pro and Heischler, and maybe Frantic as well, they really don't have much to really gain by exploring the pit window. No one else is pitting either. And Nifo stays out as well. They're looking for an easier time towards the end of the Grand Prix when everything gets a little bit more tired and slightly more distracted. You want to make sure your tyres are lesser of a concern than they were maybe in the beginning of the race. Another mistake from PJ, unfortunately. In the meantime, we see not necessarily a mistake, but a risk from Charlie, 9/10 away from Frantic as they drift round the corner. Luckily for them, it's a big old chicane and also a mistake from Frantic that brings everything back together. But now Frantic's almost lost DRS to Heischler, so hopefully for Frantic's sake they're back into this battle. But 8/10 is not much to play with. Frantic has got everything to lose here. A slight mistake and it could be over. PJ retires in the pit lane. Our first retirement of the evening. No safety car will be deployed because of the pit lane retirement. Hopefully there's no impeding from that Ferrari car when it leaves to go back out onto track. Everybody's still within the DRS train right here. Nifo stays out. Briscoe Jr. in P7, running their race. And we don't see an AI car. We see the AI car despawn in the pit lane, which is good to know for the future. The top three currently. Frantic once again finding a bit more of a limiting vibe to the DRS train as they're pushing a lot harder than they would be gaining. That's just the nature of these tyres. You can see a mistake's been unforced with the lack of grip they've got. But then that DRS kicks back in and it just makes it impossible for Charlie or Verf to make an overtake. Verf really needs to be looking at making some sort of manoeuvre, and they might have a chance here. You can see how much they're gaining in a few corners. All of a sudden Charlie dives into the pit lane, and now it's once more a move for Verf. They catch back up. They will gain a lot on Frantic. Braking. The grip will be there, and that will be Verf's position nicely. Charlie leaves the pit lane, and they'll be miles behind Briscoe Jr. Wow. How many seconds is that? 6.5 seconds between the two teammates after pitting. That is brutal stuff. Unfortunately for Frost, they've got some front wing damage and a lot of understeer. They're going to take it to the pit lane. Eagle Pro, are they going to be taking it to the pit lane here on lap 11 out of 35? Oh, and Nifo's made a mistake, unfortunately, and there is a yellow. Hopefully that's not a yellow flag that will be staying. No, it is no damage at all. Unfortunately, Frost is out of this race as they return the pit lane as well. Second retirement. Eager Pro, will they go in as Nifo's got pressure from behind? But would they are going to give the position up. They're not willing to fight. Pro stays out. No one behind goes into the pit lane, but it's Nifayan who is not willing to fight Briscoe on the different strategy and looking to actually stay with them to get the DRS maybe. No, I think they're going into the pit lane as they do hold off a bit. I think maybe, never mind, that was just the grip that we saw from Briscoe's tyre kick in. You can see Nifo catches back up, but for the next few corners, I don't think Nifo's going to have that luxury of staying. Charlie trying to make progress on their teammate at the moment, but Briscoe Jr. finding the last minute pace as they did in Belgium, and they're looking to try and take the double potentially as they try to have a go at winning the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That went to Frantic in the end, but now on a roll, being doubted in the beginning of this race to then winning by an absolute mile. Briscoe Jr. did that last week, and he's going to try and do it again. I'm stumbling and fumbling everywhere, aren't I? Eager Pro, will they make that call? I thought they were going to. We still get more cars staying out in this race. Surely Nifo is going to go into the pit lane to try and make that 6-second undercut work. 6 seconds in 3 laps. Well, it's not going to be 6 seconds, but just having a hard tyre relative to what's just happened there, how much time would that gain you? It would be pretty unthinkable. In the meantime, unthinkable, Verf with this strategy call, they still find themselves stuck behind Frantic, Heischler and Eagle, and just having to wait behind using their tyres. They'll have a burst of grip towards the end of this. And all of a sudden, their tyres will drop off. We continue in this race, and there is the pit stops. Frantic and Heischler in. Eagle stays out. Verf is unleashed. Nifo loses their position to Charlie. Will they follow the championship leader into the pit lane as well? Stay out, interestingly. Still looking to continue on this tyre. And they'll overtake for now. And that is a big old overcut that Briscoe Jr.'s got. 6 laps. It's going to play a factor later on into this Grand Prix. It is going to. There's no question about it. 5 seconds to Verf and Eager Pro. That's how much they've got. They've absolutely gained massively. That shows how much time Verf has lost by sitting behind the cars in front. It's easier said than done. I don't blame them. It's not easy to overtake any car on this grid, but they really had a few opportunities that they didn't take. They wanted to keep their front wing safe, which is also a very valid point, but when you've got a strategy as different as this one, you've got to be aggressive. Eager Pro into the pit lane, and now it's Verf unleashed, but those tyres look dead already. And it's Briscoe Jr. who's going to be catching at one hell of a rate. Double the lap age of tyres right now for Verf. They're going to be caught at a very quick rate. Of course, Verf is just looking to try and not be overtaken and stay out in clean air. Eagles had a pretty good overcut, They're not that far away. They've got 1 lap extra on their rivals Heischler and Frantic. Frantic and Heischler are both within DRS range of each other. Verf's looking for this strategy call to try and keep them in the championship. Eager Pro, for their championship hopes, would just have to hope that Heischler had some sort of disaster in this race. The chances of that happening is incredibly slim. Nifo onto new tyres as well. Thankful to get off of those mediums. Verf hasn't pitted yet. Briscoe Jr. 3.4 seconds, making more progress on the Sauber car. And as I said once again, Verf is just looking to not get overtaken and try and stay out in clean air, and then they'll make the progress later on. Their tyres in the first few laps on that medium are just going to be unreal. However, I don't think they're going to not be overtaken. I strongly believe that Verf will be a couple of seconds behind Briscoe and maybe even passed by Charlie by the time they do reach their pit window. Look at those tyres, they're pretty matte already, and I don't think they're going to find it any easier in this race. Briscoe Jr. has got a little bit of a shine to it, definitely getting some wear on it now. 8 laps. It's going to be a long old way to the end of this Grand Prix, but they've still got 9 seconds to the rest of the field, excluding their teammate, who's done a more standard strategy. Their teammate hasn't. They've also done quite a significant undercut strategy. 2.5 seconds away. Charlie is in a very good chance of winning this Grand Prix. Could they get the job done as they've been looking for so far this season many times? Heischler sitting on a more standard strategy, leading Frantic and Eager Pro. This is the long game that Heischler's looking for. Control the pace for the cars behind. Don't let them get in front of you, but make sure you push to the absolute limit, because later on, when the tyres really do make that difference, that's when they're going to be paid the reward from their efforts now. Briscoe Jr. closing in, and I think an overtake could be due unless Verf goes into the pit lane. The grip might be enough from the Williams to already go for the move out the final corner. Maybe it's not. All over the place, left and right. Briscoe finds some tyre troubles themselves, even with a significantly less worn tyre into turn 1. Surely they're not going to outbrake the Sauber from that distance. It would have been one hell of an effort. They might have a go here into turn 3, but yeah, DRS comes in pretty late, and the ERS is just not there. It's going to be Verf staying ahead. It's going to be Charlie gaining massively, and in the meantime you can see how much Heischler's gained on Charlie as well. Those tyres are getting very, very tricky. Verf looking to try and do everything they can in this race that could help them in the championship. They're actually right now helping Heischler by staying in front of Briscoe Jr. Briscoe can't get past in this middle part of the circuit. They're just having to sit in the dirty air at this point. And all while this happens, it bunches up everybody behind, which then brings Heischler back into the fight and potentially gives them an easier race towards the end of the Grand Prix. DRS is going to be available. Will it be one Williams or two to pass the Sauber? Well, it's going to be one. It's just whether it will be Charlie following their teammate. They're going to be using the battery to try and do something about it. The inside line's chosen by Charlie as well, and they do break extremely late, and they get the car to the inside. They have the traction, and they have the traction on their teammate as well. The outside line's chosen. Are they going to swoop through? Briscoe Jr. backs off as they're not willing to fight their teammate at this stage. They can see the long game strategy. It's a Williams 1-2. And somehow in a couple of corners, Charlie's gone from P3 to P1. Briscoe Jr., their teammate's now got a time penalty and is on worse tyres. Charlie is on cue to possibly take their first victory this season. Briscoe Jr. has given an absolutely sensational effort. Verf as well, giving it their all on this tyre. And they're surely coming into the pit lane in this lap to get those new mediums on to push to the end. It's Heischler in P4, Frantic, Egapro and Nifo. Actually, Verf isn't going to be going into the pit lane. No, they're going to be going into the pit lane in more about lap 22, maybe. Maybe even lap 23, and by that time we might see Heischler catch up to Verf, and if that's the case, then, well, all of a sudden, oh, is that a mistake? Surely from, must have been from Frantic, as there was a switch up there, and it will have been. There's a switch up as Frantic's dropped behind Egapro after the pit stops. They switched, and now they're back again to their original form, but they've just not got Heischler in between them. But what I wanted to say is, if Heischler catches to the back of Verf, then all of a sudden the time that Briscoe Jr. spent behind Verf would then be less effective towards Heischler's race, because they've both had to spend some time sat behind the Sauber car. Right now, Heischler's not really spent that much time. They're getting this final sector in a lot of dirty air and not being able to push. But it's going to be probably quite a straightforward overtake into turn 1, as they're already very close. Looking at very different racing lines, and Egapro almost going into the back of Heischler's. They've got a lot of pace in that car, using the battery, using the ERS, and it's going to be Egapro trying to follow through as well. The inside line's chosen. They know that they've got the braking performance, and that's a pretty straightforward manoeuvre. It's going to be Frantic having to look for it, but no, they're a bit eager on the throttle. And unfortunately, Frantic's overtaking attempt is going to be quickly diminished. They have to get the move into turn 4. They have to use the battery, otherwise it's game over. This is it, now or never for Frantic, and luckily Verf does back out. That is the move done, nice and decisive from the EU champion. First time winning a championship in LSI, first time 2 races ago winning an LSI F1 Championship. They're on a bit of a roll at the moment, showing some brilliant pace. Two-Hard Frantic gang currently sat in P5 in this train, and the strategy is changing as we speak. Lap 21 out of 35. It's Charlie in P1. It's Briscoe Jr. 1.2 seconds away, and then 2.8 seconds away is Heischler, gaining by the corner, by the 10th. It is absolutely brutal to see this difference. Oh, that is a big mistake though, with Heischler making that kind of issue off the curb. Will we see a second stop in this race? Oh, it's the inside line for Egapro, and they're going to try and get there. They've got the DRS. They just didn't quite have the grip. They're choosing the outside line, but it's going to be Heischler staying ahead. They looked for the inside line, did Egapro, but they broke a little bit earlier and made sure that they didn't go into the back. But turning off the battery was maybe a bit of a mistake there, as it gave Igor another idea. But the Aston Martin stays behind for now. They will give it a bit more patience, but they do clearly want to get past. They have a time penalty to their name, so does Briscoe Jr. and so does Nifo. No one else right now with a time penalty. Now, Heischler is going to have to go on the defense once more, as it is going to be another attack from Pro. The inside line will be chosen, and Heischler just lets this one happen this occasion. DRS once again available for Eagle, and they will secure that move quite nicely. It will create a slight opportunity for Frantic to gain back what they would have lost from the deficit that Eagle would have made by making the overtake, therefore making a bit of a void in between Heischler and Frantic. That is a mistake there, as it's now once again dirty air for Heischler. 3-second time penalty to their name. In the meantime, we have seen Verf going to the pit lane. They're ahead of Nifo just about as they've left. And they're going to look at trying to gain everything they can. We've seen Brusco Jr. as well this lap pit for a second set of hard tyres to the end. They don't have another set of mediums, which kind of makes me question why they didn't pit a little bit earlier on to try and make use of that peak performance from the hard tyre. That's a 3-second time penalty as Charlie goes over the limit as they're pushing to try and catch everything that they can, because they've also done the same strategy as Verf. I say that, not the same strategy, but Charlie's going for the second stop as well, just on the opposite tyre. They brought another set of medium tyres. 6 seconds is the difference. Absolutely insane between Brusco and Charlie. But are they going to be able to catch the top 3 in this race? Pro's hoping that Heischler and Frantic go and get themselves a 3-second time penalty each, which is very possible as we see another track extension from Heischler in this race. That's the second or third. They've got away with one, but they can't afford to get away once more. It's getting close. And Frantic, well, we haven't seen them go drastically over track limits, but we do see them right now lose that DRS range. That 1 second margin is exceeded, and it could be a spot of trouble for the Dutchman. Now it's just about DRS, I think, for Frantic. Heischler will be able to gain a little bit more. There is the DRS open for the Alpine car. Thankfully, for their sake, they're still in this train. Well, so be it, maybe just for a couple of corners, because now that DRS is once again at risk of being lost. In the meantime, Charlie has gained absolutely monumentally with just under 10 laps, or just around 10 laps remaining of this Grand Prix. But the medium compound tyre is not getting any easier to deal with. Pro leads the way by half a second ahead of Heischler. They've got 1 lap fresher tyres, but a time penalty to their name, which is only going to make their race more complicated. Charlie on a 2-stop strategy on the medium tyre at this stage, gaining nicely. Brusco Jr. also on a 2-stop strategy, but with this compound of tyre, they're not gaining as much, especially compared to their teammate Verf. They're on the 1-stop strategy, medium tyre at the moment, starting on the hards. The Hungarian home hero is going to have to hunt a bit harder, because right now it's not worked out at all, and they are I can tell you right now, 17.4 seconds away from the race leader. They've got to gain that all by the end of the Grand Prix. Well, we did see Heischler gain a lot of lap time earlier on to the two Williams as the tyres got towards a harder cliff. And Igapro, Heisch and Frantic are all yet to hit that cliff. Is the cliff enough though? I don't think so. And if anyone's going to gain it or catch up to the cliff, then it's going to be Briscoe Jr. because Frantic and, Charlie and Verse tyres are going to be completely kaput by the time it gets to that stage. Frantic appearing to find a area of kind of no man's land where the cars ahead are breaking away slightly and the cars behind are nowhere to be seen. So you just have to kind of sit and wait for something to happen. Big mistake though, as these tyres are pretty old at this stage of the Grand Prix. You can see in the very far distance Charlie is coming into camera view now, and they are gaining. And they'll be able to see the cars into turn one as they travel down the straight as motivation to continue. But those tyres are not going to get any easier to manage. Igapro's time penalty is not going to get any easier to manage. Heischler has got this one in the bag. As long as they make sure that they stay within those track limits, it is all done and dusted. The DRS is going to be a bit of relief on the start-finish straight to gain back some lost lap time in the dirty air, gain back some lost ERS from anything that you've tried to gain throughout the lap, specifically where you're maybe losing time, such as now. And that's all that Heischler needs to do. And I will be able to confirm their championship status. But it's not over until it's over. Frantic knows that well, although it confirms their title last week. By the time we got into lap 1 already, it was already confirmed that as Terence didn't arrive to the Grand Prix, they had taken the title. Charlie gaining more so, continuing on these older tyres. The car's lighter weight, that's what's going to help these tyres go a little bit longer and a lot quicker as well. But just will they be good enough to go any further, and will Briscoe's tyres be good enough to catch up to the leaders? As the drop-off hits harder and harder and harder, the laps sway faster. Charlie catches up to Frantic, but their tyres aren't going to be lasting for that much longer. The hard tyre is officially faster than the medium tyre on 6 laps difference. Well, not difference. 6 laps of age. But right now we focus on this manoeuvre. Charlie goes slightly wider, cuts back in, gets the car straight, gets the traction down, the throttle, the ERS, the DRS, and the defence to the middle of the circuit. Doesn't matter. Charlie is still going to give it all of the beans, and Frantic's not going to have much of a choice. I think they had a look to try and stick it around the outside, but that's never going to happen with the circumstance that they're in. Half a second between Heischler and Niffo. We continue. Charlie breaks away from DRS already, 2.5 seconds. About 30 out of 35. The top two running neatly ahead. Charlie trying to stir up the pot. Trying to look for that first victory this season that they've been looking for. Multiple race winner last season in F1 24. And since then they just haven't quite been able to find it here or there for whatever reason or not. Their teammate gaining at a rate not fast enough, but still gaining nicely. 2.3 seconds. Charlie's still got pace in this car, but do they have the tyre to take them to the end? Well, looking at that track limit, that is absolutely brutal. These worn out old tyres can still go longer, but can they keep it in a straight line? That's the question. The car's just gliding everywhere. Oversteer when you want understeer, and understeer when you want oversteer. It's like driving that one Ferrari from years ago, and there it is. There's a mistake. Those are the tyres. And Charlie is going to be frustrated as they put the car into the wall on the grass. They don't believe it. And that is more issues for the Polishman. And unfortunately, that is their hunt done. Briscoe Jr. now tries to count down the laps to get to Frantic. Can they get there? Heischler's life has just been made a lot easier. EagerPro's life has just been made a lot easier. They don't risk losing that P2 now. Charlie limps into the pit lane in disbelief. And that's the end of their Grand Prix. EagerPro half a second in front still, hoping for some sort of mistake from Heischler regarding track limits. About to reach lap 33 of the Grand Prix. Oh, and Heischler's lost DRS range. Heischler has lost DRS range. They've just held it for now. But will they be able to gain it all back? Well, they will for now. They will. They will indeed. And with EagerPro on a minimal amount of ERS, I think Heischler's got away with murder there. Heischler has got away with that one quite nicely, almost losing that DRS range, but EagerPro couldn't combat it, they couldn't fight it, they couldn't find a way to capitalise on such a situation. It's just going to be the way it is. 3-second time penalty versus almost twice the age tyre. Briscoe Jr. is hunting down Frantic, but will they be able to extend 3 seconds into an overtake? Well, they don't go for the inside line, although they have the DRS. They could have made that move a lot better. They've just lost the traction in the dirty air. They're still going to go for the move into the first corner. They're going to have it on the brakes regardless of how far they get alongside. And there it is. Frantic, would they look for the switchback? They might have tried, but it was blocked off nicely if it was ever tried. And now Briscoe tries to gain that 3-second gap to secure that podium that they've been hunting for on this crazy strategy call of their race. which has made it very, very complicated. Eager Pro has driven a brilliant race so far, but the laps are running out for Heisler to get a time penalty. Regardless, it doesn't matter. If the order stays the way it is, Verf is 4 seconds, 5 seconds away from Frantic. Heisler could finish P1 or P2 and still be the LSI F1 World Champion. The final lap is upon us. Eager Pro hopes and prays that something will change. Can Heisler get a time penalty? Can Eager Pro get a victory? It's going to go one way in the end. We just have to wait and see. 2.1 seconds Frantic has just lost to Briscoe Jr. The efforts on that tyre are paying off now for this final spot on the podium. A 3.6 second gap to the other cars, but they do have a 3-second time penalty themselves, and that is already 2.5 seconds, and Briscoe Jr. is well on their way to take this podium position. A brilliant run from Frantic, almost flawless, but just nothing they can do about it. That being said, it's still half a second, and this final sector has just got to be clutched up. Eager Pro has given it their all, and they're currently leading this Grand Prix, and they will cross the line in first place. But Heisler has got one final sector of not being an LSI champion. They've just got a couple more corners of not being an LSI champion. But Heisler will finally get there. The day has come, the final corner's here, and the final stretch of road. Eager Pro will cross the line in first, but Heisler wins the LSI Hungarian Grand Prix and F1 World Championship. Absolutely incredible. They've got the job done. Heisler is the man. How about that? A long old race, a lot of thinking to do, but they did what they needed in the end to secure it. Verf tried something crazy with a difficult qualifying and a wacky strategy. Eager Pro showed their pace, but in the end it's all a little too late. Heisler is on top of the world, and no one can beat them. Congratulations. It's finally happened. McLaren take another championship in LSI after a big old gap back to season 5. Heisler wins the Hungarian Grand Prix, Eager Pro in P2 and Briscoe Jr. taking that podium. Frantic to P4, and then it's Verf, Niffo and DNFing earlier on was Charlie, Frost and PJ. The race director is on your screen. And then we go down to the pit stop section as well. We will be back for the post-race interviews, and we will hear about the first McLaren F1 champion in LSI since it must have been about 4 years ago. 5 years ago. We'll see in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Hungarian Grand Prix. A championship winning race in the end there. We start with Nifo. Nifo, that was a tough one. Tyres were just all over the place, dropping back out of the train. Yeah, it's really tough. Can you take us through it, and how much better are those hard tyres compared to the mediums?
I mean, this was not a question of tires. This is just straight talent and the lack of that. Yeah, there's just nothing good. I did enough practice as I should, and there was just nothing. Just absolutely zero pace. I've always struggled at Hungary. I mean, the last 3 years at least, since 22. But yeah, this is just unbelievable. I have no answers. And it's every race now. Honestly, it's just like I race and there's just no answers. Like I don't know where the pace is. I'm the only guy I know that has put this many hours into racing and just gets worse. It's not even plateauing. It's just getting worse. I just like people that I could beat comfortably. People I would race competitively with are just shooting away. They're improving, and I just get worse. So yeah, it's just unbelievable. Honestly, I don't really have fun with it anymore. It's just a drag. Every race is just yeah, you just have to survive, and then when you have pace, something takes you out or whatever, and yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm just a bit lost, honestly. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I think I'll have to think about the future, honestly, because this is just not fun. And this season, the last few seasons, honestly, have just not been fun at all. When you keep trying, but you just get worse. So, and I think this race was just the perfect way to show that to everybody. But yeah, congratulations to Gijs. It's amazing what he did, and everybody else who just had amazing pace as they should. So yeah, congratulations to them, and yeah, it's been a good season for them. For me, it's just I look in the mirror and I see there's no answers. There's just not much positive to talk about.
Thank you very much for the effort today. I know it's not easy, and thank you very much to making it to the end of the Grand Prix. I appreciate your efforts, Nifo, and hopefully you can enjoy the final race if we see you in Japan. Thank you very much, Nifo. And we move on to Frantic. Frantic, well, it's a brilliant qualifying to start with, and it looked like you were going to have the podium. What happened there at the end, just missing out? Was it the tyres, do you think?
Yeah, it were the tires. Yeah, they were pretty much dead. First of all, big congrats to Gijs. I know what it's like to be a champion, and I just want to say big congrats. Amazing. 2 Dutch guys winning this year, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy for him. So let's go, hoo-ha. Well, yeah, I mean, the qualifying, I honestly don't know how I did that. Like, I love Hungary. It's one of my favorite tracks in the game. I didn't practice, so like my first laps were actually my first laps on the track. So yeah, I was trying to find the best gears and stuff, and it worked out in the end. So I'm very pleased with that. And also, since I've won the championship in the 0.5 tier, I'll race these guys next season. So for the people who don't know me, I'm Frantic, 2-time F1 champion, and I will be the guy you have to defeat next season in order to win the championship. Let's go.
Thank you very much, Frantic. I'm going to leave it there because that's perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Have a good one. Thank you very much. Really good job. And we move on to Charlie. Charlie is looking like you're finally going to get that victory, possibly, that you were looking for. Brilliant pace, a brilliant move as well, the double overtake from P3 to P1 on your teammate. But later on, the tyres, they just weren't really there. Can you take us through it?
Oh no, the tires were there. For sure. They were gonna make it to the end, like comfortably, I think. It was like 3 laps to go still. And they weren't even like 60% yet, so like the tires were actually pretty good. I was still like almost a second a lap faster than the guys in front. Yeah, I mean the pace, the strategy, everything was like good except for like quality pace, but I didn't do any practice, so uh I don't know. Like the spin just like caught me off, honestly. Like I just like at that point I was so focused on just like kind of pushing every lap, like chasing the gap in front of me. So I was honestly kind of slow to react to the slide. Uh and then just grass, worn tires, grass, everything, and just like spun again. So yeah, just complete skill issue.
Yeah, that's tough.
But I like if I'm gonna focus on the positives, this is one of my worst tracks on the calendar, and I actually had very good performance. So
Mm.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was great to see you have that chance for the victory and not for P5. So thank you very much for giving us a good show as well. Some great overtakes on track, and I hope you at least enjoyed those moments. Thank you very much, Charlie. Really good effort today.
Yeah, congratulations to House as well. Very good effort.
Yeah, it's very good. Thank you, Charlie. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
And we move on to your champion, Heischler. Welcome. For the first time as a champion, you'll speak in an interview. Absolutely brilliant stuff. It was a long old race, and it looked like you wanted to go for that move, but then it just wasn't worth it with the time penalty. You could secure it. Before the race started, during qualifying, when you saw Verf, the closest car to you in the championship, in the race, was disqualified, were you pretty confident at that point, or was the confidence always brimming through this entire Hungarian Grand Prix event?
Well, Hungary usually isn't my strongest track either. It's probably also one of my worst. So to win here is absolutely amazing. And to win the championship as well here is incredible. I forgot your question. Oh, Firth. Yeah, no, I felt at first I felt sorry for him. He did an amazing job in quali. He would have outqualified me because I messed up my last lap. So it's unlucky from him that he was disqualified. I saw why, and that's just rough sometimes how the game is. I'm not really, I wasn't really worrying if I wouldn't be able to beat him, even though if he was disqualified or not. I was sure he would probably still play a part in the race from where he was starting, but he started on the hards, and to be honest, yeah, the hards are really good here, but they drop off quite a lot as well. Any tire around this track drops off multiple seconds. So I knew that starting on the hards is just not a good idea. The two-stop was an idea, and as you saw with Brusco, the gap with Brusco at the end, the two-stop was in the end quicker. I kind of knew that from my practice, but I wanted to... wait, am I still in? Yeah, I'm still in. Sorry, my screen turned black. Yeah, I wanted the pack to be a bit more split up to do the two-stop, because there is always a chance that you get stuck in a DRS train if you have a lot of people doing the one-stop. And that would kind of happen. We were with 3, and even with 2, me and Igor, I was quite sure that Charlie couldn't have overtaken us because the dirty air is horrendous around Hungary, and I knew what I was doing with my ERS management. So I would have wished Charlie a lot of luck to overtake us both, even though he had the better tires. And that's something you have to consider sometimes with strategy, that the quickest strategy is not always the best strategy. So yeah, I was pretty much confident throughout this week when preparing for this race. that I could do it, and I finally did it. And I just want to thank Jericho at first for helping me so much and being an amazing teammate, and just thank you to anyone who helped me during the journey towards the championship, finally having a championship after nearly 5 years, I think. So yeah, it's
about that.
yeah. So thank you to anyone who helped me. It's been a long, really long process until right now, and it means a lot to me. I cried immediately after the race, and yeah, I enjoyed every second of this season, and I'm very happy with the consistency I put on display this season. Only of the podium once, I would say, if you like count as penalties that will probably come. So that's amazing consistency, to be honest. And now for next season and for next race, I can already tell I want to aim towards more having fun, battling a bit more instead of sweating it too much. I will move to cockpit cam as well, just to get more towards the realism instead of the sweating. So that's just the aim from here, just having fun. We'll see what happens next season. Maybe I can even become champion in cockpit cam, who knows. I will just do what I always do, have fun, drive the best I can, and enjoy myself.
Thank you very much, Heisler. We're proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. A very wholesome way to end it. What a legend. He's finally done it. I'm going to go and celebrate with a stroke bottle with a Dutch countryman. Thank you very much, Heisler, once again. And we'll see you next time. And also well done to Jericho Willis if you're watching. Absolutely amazing to see McLaren get the double after all these years. It's been a while, but it's finally come. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship race in Hungary. We'll see you next weekend for the finale in Japan. It's been a pleasure. Heisler is champion.